A warm welcome to TV Africa News and thank you for always joining us. This is Africa Today. My name is Najma Lima, but first are the headlines. Government challenged to intervene as fuel prices continue to rise. Mpuga calls for improved budget allocation to the health sector. South Africa disappointed at the European Union over travel ban. And in sports, Uganda rally drivers anticipate tougher seasons. A warm welcome once again. Now the news in detail. Members of Parliament have asked government to intervene in the skyrocketing fuel prices, saying businesses are starting to crumble due to the high transport costs. The MPs who addressed journalists on Monday, 29th November 2021, in the members' lounge at Parliament said that, whereas fuel prices have been increasing for months, government has remained silent as far as giving a strategy. We have more on this report.
Uganda's fuel prices are highest in East Africa at 4,590 shillings per litre, followed by Burundi's 4,290 shillings. Tanzania has the lowest price at 3,780 shillings per litre, Rwanda 4,060 shillings per litre, and Kenya 4,180 shillings. Crude oil prices have been rising for the past 8 months, following the opening of most economies from the COVID-19 lockdown. Fuel demand shot up fast with limited production, and although regular oil production has started, there is still a gap to cover. Now MPs say that the country is in a crisis and government needs to give a strategy to intervene. Honorable Dennis Sekabira of the National Unity Platform, representing Katikamu North County, say that because of the high fuel prices of goods and services are getting out of hand, adding that it was ironic that top government officials and politicians were in the fuel business. The Katikamu legislator was shocked that whereas fuel to the Democratic Republic of Congo transits through Uganda, fuel prices in the country are higher than those in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Honorable Gafa Mbwatekamwa of the NRM, representing Igara County West, said that whilst members of parliament have also been affected, it is the common citizens who have been cheated. He said that prices of oil have skyrocketed at 10,000 shillings that used to buy 2.5 liters can barely get you 2 liters. Mbwatekamwa said it is time for government to use the fuel reserves to provide stability for the country. He also says Parliament should debate the matter of the high rising fuel prices so that a solution can be got. Engineer Ronald Balimwezo of the National Unity Platform, representing Nakawa East Division, say that Ugandans are failing to meet their basic needs because of the high costs of things. He says the dealings between Ugandan National Oil Company and Starbex, an oil and gas marketing firm, should be investigated since it could create a monopoly.
Efforts to fill Nakulabye C local council seat Lubaga division are on as various candidates have been nominated to contest for the post. The position was left vacant after retired Lieutenant Grace Nambale Sozi, the former Lubaga division women's councillor for Nakulabye Zone 3, passed on 19th June 2021. Nalugo reports.
Among the contestants for Nakulabye 3 Lubaga Division Woman Councillor is Namata Christine, the late Grace Nambale Sozi's own daughter, the former Lubaga Division Woman Councillor. She pledged to begin with the scaling of women in Lubaga Division, which among other projects were left hanging after her mother's death.
Waliwo projects ezalekebwa emabega eza late Sozi Grace Nambale, abakyala basoma kapete emitwalo 2 n'ekitundu. Muzeeyi yali yabasuubiza obweyamo mu July, but unfortunately omugenzi natuva ku maaso mu June. So ngenda kutandikirawo olw'okuuma enkola gana enungi eri abawagizi bange abatuuze bafa b'ekitundu, then eri president wange Yoweri Kaguta Museveni.
Namata, who is the National Resistance Movement Party flag bearer, also promised to work for the people of Lubaga Division and alleviate poverty in the area.
Ngenda kutandikira okuteekawo ensako bakye twandiise nti buli zone eyange gye ngenda okuba nga ntwala kuba ziri 3, 6, 2 and 7. Njagala tubeerewo n'ensako nga ne bwe tuba tufiiriddwa ku kyalo oba nga tufunye obuzibu bwonna oba eri abaana abatasoma oba eri abakadde abatalina babakwatirako abatalina mwasirizi ngenda kukola n'amaanyi. Ekifo kyange kino eky'obwakansala sikitunuulidde nga mulimu, nzize okukolera abantu b'omu kitundu.
Nambale, a die-hard supporter of the National Resistance Movement Party, attracted warm tributes from various mourners at her burial, who spoke highly of her commitment to the party and the people of Rubaga Division.
The leader of the opposition, Matthias Simpuga, has called for improved budget allocations to the health sector. He made the remarks while interacting with health workers at Kabare Regional Referral Hospital last week. Kachanchu has more.
Mpuga said that government is alive to the requirements of the Abuja Declaration, which requires it to allocate at least 15% of its budgets to health. He emphasized that the last time he checked, we were still at 8% and it's going even down this financial year, which is a major concern to all of us. Matthias Mpuga was speaking after health workers led by the hospital's medical director, Dr. Sofina Masopo, reported the funding challenges that have compromised service delivery at the facility. For instance, this financial year, the hospital, which serves all the 16 districts in Kigezi sub-region and part of Ntungamo district, was allocated 1.2 billion shillings for drugs and other medical supplies, which Dr. Namasopo said is inadequate to meet the demand on ground. The hospital is also grappling with power outages, which has affected the operations of the surgical theatre and production of much-needed oxygen. Some equipment, especially those used for diagnostics, have also reportedly blown because of the unstable power supply to the hospital. The opposition leader also had consultations with religious leaders, farmers, and local leaders.
Let's go for a very quick short break. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News, the right to know. The water transformed the main road into a ravine. It gutted homes, exposing their innards to the world. It left a school a playground, teetering on the edge of a precipice. In November 2019, 40 Kinshasans died after heavy rains caused flooding and landslides, but 2 years later, the problems posed by extreme rainfall remain. We have more on this report.
These images come from Kinshasa, the capital of the Democratic Republic of Congo, where a population influx combined with scant urban planning has exposed many poor people to the impacts of extreme weather. Millions of people have moved into the city in recent years, although the exact numbers are unknown, as no census has been conducted for more than 30 years. According to some estimates, the city is home to at least 12 million people, a doubling in 2 decades out of a national population of some 90 million. Many have built homes in areas where there has been little planning oversight, especially on hillsides where drains and channels are needed to cope with runoff during the rainy season. At the top of a cliff in Kinshasa's southern district of Mount Ngafula, disused water pipes hang in a void, and residents must battle through a gully of shifting sand to reach the neighboring district. Flood water dug out an asphalt avenue, replacing it with an abyss at least 15 meters deep, separating the University of Kinshasa from a Jesuit-run library, one of the biggest in Africa. Widowed mother of 7, Esperance Simba 57, saw the earth swallow her shop and livelihood as the rains fell, and narrated that she lost her business, and since then it has been hard to send her children to school. Local residents are building dikes to protect their homes, piling up sandbags in the hope of slowing the landslide and diverting rainwater flows.
Guinea's government has announced intentions to try those responsible for the 2009 Conakry Stadium massacre that left at least 157 people dead and 109 women raped by soldiers on September 28th. The announcement was made following a visit to the country by the International Criminal Court. The government of former President Alpha Condé, who came to office in 2010 but was ousted in a military coup in September, had long pledged to try the perpetrators. Investigations ended in 2017, but there was no trial. This was condemned by rights groups for the repeated delays. According to state media on Friday, Guinea's interim justice minister Fatoumata Yali Soma said the trial will take place and we are preparing for it. Amade Ba, who led the ICC delegation, said Guinean authorities had lent him an extremely attentive ear, according to the public broadcaster. Doboya launched a purge on September 5th and deposed 83-year-old Condé, who had been battling a wave of unpopularity. In a highly symbolic gesture, soon after seizing power, the army strongman went to Conakry's main sports stadium, where he asked one of his guards to lead prayers in memory of the 2009 massacre. Moving on, hundreds of laborers from several Senegalese ethnic groups paraded through the streets of the capital on the occasion of the return of the Great Carnival of Dakar. The festivities, which is the second edition of the Grand Carnival of Dakar, started on Friday at the Place de la Nation under the theme Tales and Legends of Senegal and elsewhere.
The Grand Carnival of Dakar is a platform set up in order to promote Senegalese culture and create an exchange between Senegal and other countries. Ulay Fall artist dancer said that this carnival is a good thing for Senegalese culture since it allows artists to meet, get to know each other and to exchange ideas. The event, which was initiated in 2019, could not be held in 2020 due to COVID-19 pandemic. Organizer of the carnival shed more lights on the concept for the event. Fatou Kassessar, organizer of the Dakar Carnival, explained that Senegal is a country with a wide diverse population that gets along very well and has an extremely rich culture, adding that in each region there is an extraordinary diversity and they wanted to create an event that would be a platform to enhance and promote it, whether in Senegal or throughout the world. The 2021 edition aims at enhancing and promoting culture as a tool for territorial marketing. Fatou Jipta Toure, ambassador of the Dakar Carnival, said that this event is a great idea to make Dakar an annual meeting place for culture, for folklore, for the memories, and sees this festival growing in 3 years or in 5 years so that they can meet again in this same square with a lot of tourists who come to see it too. A large space was arranged to accommodate the maximum number of people, including some 500 exhibitors from all regions of Senegal and the province of Quebec, Canada. A parade of children wearing masks and traditional costumes is also planned in order to better raise awareness about contemporary life.
Away from that, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has expressed disappointment at the European Union over the recent travel ban instituted against Southern African countries. The president described as unjustified the travel ban, which has been linked to the discovery of the newly highly mutated coronavirus variant Omicron. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa said that the outbreak of the Omicron variant should be a wake-up call to the world that vaccine inequality cannot be allowed to continue, adding that they are deeply disappointed by the decision of several countries to prohibit travel from a number of Southern African countries, including South Africa. Cyril Ramaphosa, President of South Africa, stated that instead of prohibiting promoting travel, the rich countries of the world need to support the efforts of developing countries, economies that is, to access and to manufacture enough vaccine doses for their people without delay. Botswana's Minister of Health, Dr. Adrian Dikoli, believes there are much better ways of handling this issue rather than using it as a means to stigmatize against Southern African countries. At Hatfield Province, 90% of new cases of the Omicron variant has been detected. The new variant is believed to be behind the explosion of infections. Only 24.1% of South Africans have been vaccinated. European member states agreed on Friday to temporarily suspend travel from Southern African nations over the outbreak of a new coronavirus variant. Countries affected by the ban comprise South Africa, Namibia, Lesotho, Botswana, Eswatini, and Zimbabwe. The European Centre for Disease Prevention and Control said there is a high to very high risk the new variant will spread in Europe. World Health Organization's Regional Director for Africa, Mashindiso Mowat, called on countries to follow science and international health regulations in order to avoid using travel restrictions. Let's once again take a very quick short break. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News, The Right to Know. In our business news today, 30 endangered white rhinos from South Africa have arrived in Rwanda, where it's hoped they will thrive. The animals were transported in Boeing 747 in what is the largest single transfer of the species ever undertaken.
After arriving in Rwanda, white rhinos from South Africa were placed into grassy enclosures in preparation for a later release. Jess Grana, Regional Operations Manager for African Parks, said that the white rhinos are being persecuted on the continent, making them not stable and may force them to go either way. He added that if something happened to Kenya or to South Africa on the scene of white rhinos, that is where the majority of white rhinos are, then white rhinos are really on the brink of extinction. According to the World Wildlife Fund, the southern white rhino, one of two subspecies of white rhino, is now considered endangered with about 20,000 individuals remaining. Ian Munyankindi, Director of Tourism and Hospitality at Akagera National Park in Rwanda, concluded that the white rhinos are going to be seen by almost all the tourists in the open places easy to see, adding that it's really going to be something that will really help a lot on the tourism side, help a lot on the side of the people who visit the park to have a guarantee that they will see the white rhinos. Once plentiful across sub-Saharan Africa, the white rhino suffered first from haunting by European settlers. Later, a poaching epidemic largely wiped them out.
In our health news today, hundreds of people queued in their cars to get vaccinated against COVID-19 at a drive-through vaccination center in Cape Town, South Africa. This comes after dozens of nations from Europe to Asia have imposed travel restrictions on South Africa and its neighbors since its scientists flagged Omicron last week. Hilary Bertrand, clinical manager at Thron vaccination site, said that they have seen an uptick in people coming, which is very encouraging, and added that the public must have listened to the president and hopefully is a good sign of things to come. The travel restrictions have dealt a body blow to South Africa's tourism industry, which had been looking to the southern hemisphere summer to welcome an influx of visitors from the well-heeled north. South Africa Foreign Ministry spokesman Clayson Monyela said on Monday that it was regrettable and sad that fellow African nations had joined a rush by wealthy countries to impose travel bans over the new COVID variant. Angola, Mauritius, Rwanda, and the Seychelles have halted flights from South Africa in a bid to shield themselves from Omicron. Monyela said South Africa had recently made substantial donations of vaccines to some of the countries that were now imposing flight bans. Monyela said his ministry was urging countries on the continent and further afield that have hurried to impose travel restrictions to reverse them immediately. Dozens of nations from Europe to Asia have imposed travel restrictions on South Africa and its neighbors since its scientists flagged Omicron last Thursday. Mauritius and Rwanda were the latest African countries to suspend flights. Rwanda announced late Sunday that it was halting direct flights to and from 9 countries in southern Africa. All passengers who landed from those countries in the past 7 days now have to spend a week in quarantine in designated hotels at their own cost. In our sports news today, 22 Ugandan drivers took the wheel in the National Rally Championship in Jinja, covering 150 kilometers of competitive sections. The experienced driver of over a decade, Duncan Mobiru, emerged the overall winner of the event with 400 points to snatch his first ever national title. Kachanchu has more on this report.
Duncan Mubiru finished strong on the podium with the new Subaru GVB ahead of other stars Hassan Alui, Freddy Kitaka, Omar Mayanja and Jas Mangati. An accident and engine failure moved Ibrahim Lubega to tears, but he had already amassed points to guarantee a win in the four-wheel category. Lubega said that it's not a must that whoever competes has to go through, but mainly he has missed a lot because he has got a lot of fans who have come out to watch how he really drives. Motorsport is fast growing in Uganda. The government waives taxes on vehicles imported by drivers, and the cars are powerful enough for the world competitions, plus there is a solid fan base. This last round of the competition was dubbed the Sexy Speed Rally, but was it sexy enough? The drivers are anticipating tougher seasons in 2020.
That was the news. Thank you for always keeping it TV Africa, please. Do stay tuned to more programming coming your way.